Let the wild rumpus start. The government of Niger has announced that it will no longer issue visas to citizens of the United States, a move officials describe as retaliation against the recent U.S. policy decisions. According to reporting cited by regional and international outlets, Nigerian authorities say the ban is meant to assert national sovereignty and respond to what they view as unequal or punitive treatment by Washington. The decision marks another sharp turn in relations between Niger and the United States, which have deteriorated, that's a word, rapidly over the past year. Now, Niger's visa ban comes after a series of U.S. actions that angered the ruling military government, including sanctions, restrictions on cooperation, and criticism of Niger's post-coup leadership. Since the July 2023 coup, the U.S. has downgraded the diplomatic ties and reduced security engagements, and also citing diplomatic backsliding and other things to not deal with that, let's just say, S-hole country. Nigerian officials have argued that the Washington approach amounts to a pressure and interference, and say the visa ban is a reciprocal response meant to signal that Niger will no longer accept one-sided rules. Now, analysts are noting that the visa ban fits in a wider pattern in which Niger's military-led government is actually pivoting away from Western countries and towards new partners. In recent months, Niger has expelled French forces, scaled back cooperation with the U.S. military, and strengthened ties with folks like Russia and other non-Western allies. Blocking visas to America is seen as less of an isolated travel policy, more of a political statement reinforcement Niger's break from its former security patrons. In the meantime, the visa ban is expected to affect diplomats, aid workers, journalists, and business travelers, rather than large numbers of tourists, since Niger is not a major U.S. travel destination. One of the comments I saw from people who saw this online is, who exactly going to Niger? Nobody. But diplomats, aid workers, journalists, and business travelers, people who are trying to make money and make sense of the region. The biggest issue they have is humanitarian organizations. They warned that the move could actually complicate aid delivery and monitoring in the country already facing food insecurity and regional violence. The folks that really need to be there to watch over the folks there will have a hard time getting there, especially if they have American flags on their shoulders. U.S. officials have not announced a formal response, but are expected to issue some updated travel and diplomatic guidance for this one in itself. Now, regionally, this year's decision sends a signal to other Sahel nations that have experienced coups and tensions with the West, including Mali and Burkina Faso. Sorry about that. It was split in the script, so we're not going to redo that. It reinforces a growing narrative among these governments that sovereignty means resisting Western diplomatic pressures, even at economic and security costs. International observers say the visa bans is less about U.S. travelers. As we say, it's more about symbolism and leverage and audience signaling back at home mostly, but also a bit abroad. Something that DJT is kind of, gets. From Niger's perspective, the move underscores sovereignty and sends a clear message that diplomatic pressures will be met with concrete countermeasures. It also may play well domestically by reinforcing nationalist narratives and distancing the government from unpopular Western influence. Niger first. Make Niger great again, if you will. The ban also risks further isolating this country diplomatically from places that could actually help them and economically assist them going forward, potentially reducing aid, investment, and international engagements. Could also harm ordinary Nigerians indirectly if aid and operations slow or if tensions with the U.S. escalate into broader sanctions or restrictions. There are critics, and they warn that the symbolism of this retaliation may actually carry long-term costs that outweigh its short-term political value for the people of Niger. Not so much people who are here, because people here are going, why are we having issues with Niger? Except for maybe Donald Trump, who may actually relish at the fact of getting to fight another world leader who has very little power over him, but in a odd sense, has the power to select someone over us. That would make it a real big deal. Is Niger a big issue? Is Niger a big deal? is the aid we won't be giving to them and the help we won't be giving to them and the diplomatic immunity issues we won't be giving to them and the business opportunities we won't be giving to them based on them pushing us out going to make an actual difference. Comment away.